parenting in the United Kingdom in the 80s and now? What has changed in the time?
More clearly defined rules than there is now. Not to do this, you are not to do that.
Can you say about helicopter parenting in the 80s and now?
Just been
24/7.
Yeah.
What is your advice for young parents? Hello, welcome to The Loaded Couple. Today I have a wonderful man in the house. Welcome, Ben, to The Loaded Couple channel.
Thank you.
So today we're going to be talking about parenting in the United Kingdom in the 80s and now. What has changed in the time past? So I want you to do me a favor. Could you please press that subscribe button and also turn on your notification to get more of our videos? And I believe you'll be blessed if you do this. So let's crack on, Ben.
Okay.
How did UK parents handle discipline in the 80s versus now? How did they handle discipline?
I think there was more clear defined rules than there is now. You know, you were not to do this, you were not to do that. I think it was more stricter, more defined rules back then.
And then what are the things that your parents actually did about disciplining you, maybe when you do something wrong, compared to how you deal with people, maybe your own children, or how your neighbors discipline their children in this day?
Well, back then it was permissible to use for a parent to use the back of the hand, you know, to ground you in your bedroom and rescind any privileges you may have. Obviously now the corporal punishment side, as it were, is out of the question, but we can still rescind the privileges as compared to the 80s.
All right. So what freedom did children have in the 80s that today children don't have?
Freedom, yeah. I think we were allowed to play out longer, further. We would go like for walks for miles, and we'd be out all day. Bearing in mind there's no cell phones to keep tabs on it, as it were, but yeah, there was just a lot more freedom to go out and play and to socialise with people locally. That's
good. And what can you say about helicopter parenting in the 80s and now? Do you think we still have helicopter parenting in the United Kingdom today?
Helicopter?
Yeah,
yeah, definitely do. There's a lot of these helicopter parents. I am taking my son to some extracurricular activities, and some mothers and fathers would stay the entire duration to like supervise. Whether it's back in the 80s, if I was doing something extracurricular, I'd just simply be dropped off and then picked up at the finish time.
So for those watching us that don't know the meaning of helicopter parenting, what does it really mean?
Helicopter parent, it's a pejorative term for being too clingy to your children, not letting them out of your sight, and just being overly careful about what your children do and where they go. It's like a clingy parent style, if you will.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just they are always watching and moving closely and working closely with the children.
Yes.
So all eyes on the children all the time, 24/7.
Yes.
They always monitor the child. But do you think today children want that kind of parenting style whereby the parents will be monitoring all their steps wherever they go or something like that? Do you think children of nowadays want that style of parenting?
I don't think they do. I think they prefer a bit more freedom, a bit more playing out, a bit more unsupervised. I think children have to, you know, fall when they're playing, dust themselves off, and learn to get back into the game again. I think that's important.
Yeah, that's true, because in the 80s in the United Kingdom, knife crime is very low.
Yes.
It was very low
Yeah.
compared to today. And parents are always with their children. And today, most knife crimes that happened, the children or the person is alone,
Yeah.
maybe in a quiet or private area, and that scenario happened. So, how did schools and communities support parenting back then in the 80s?
Well, like you said, knife crime wasn't a really big talked about subject, so there much emphasis on that. But children were largely, schools were like assisting in the discipline of the children, like just reinforcing the rules. A little, obviously, there was a lot less curricula about social sciences and that sort of thing. It was a disciplined thing, you know,
Yeah.
form a line, be patient, you know.
So, how did working parents balance career and their family then in the UK? You know, today the number of women working in the past couple of years have increased. So, and then the number of women working in the United Kingdom in the 80s
Yeah.
compared to today was very low.
Yeah.
So, how did parents manage family and career in the 80s?
Well, like you said, it was a new thing for like the mothers to go out to work full time. So you would have reliance on like the eldest sibling would look after younger children and look after them after school for an hour or so until the mother came back. It might be possible that the eldest had a key to the house to let themselves in the home after school. Like I say, it was all new, so it was all a tried and tested thing. People had their own way of getting around things.
So, what advice the parenting in the 80s wouldn't work today?
Today, obviously the punishments wouldn't work today.
Corporal punishments.
Yeah, that would be a big no today. And I don't think restricting children to play, like for example, play in the street would be a big thing to a child of today, because I don't think children play out in the street today. So So that's two things I don't think would work now.
All right. So if we should look at the extracurricular activities of children in the 80s when you were still young,
Yeah.
compared to today, what things do you think has changed in the kids over time when it comes to extracurricular activities?
Well, it's obviously technological. And back in the 80s, there was no cell phones, laptops, iPads, that sort of thing, no internet. So extracurriculars was maybe joining the Cub Scouts or some sort of outdoor sports sort of thing, usually by, you know, a civic leader of some sort, or volunteer. I think now the more extracurricular can be like going to the library to use the internet maybe, or basically doing something online somewhere, you know, some virtual activity perhaps.
If we should talk about the economic pressure now and compared to the UK, looking at the economy, 80s and now, which one is better?
For me, I would say it was much simpler. Like for children today, I think they have to keep up with so much, like the iPhones, trainers, all sorts of consumer goods, what are fashionable. You had less than that, obviously, back then in the 80s.
So how do you think this economic pressure has influenced parenting practices in the 80s and now?
I think parents are probably a lot more pressured to spend more money on children, making sure they're up to date with their clothes and their iPhones and trainers and such. Again, in the 80s, it wasn't a thing, so it would have been more money for the household, more for groceries and other essential costs.
And then you have time to stay at home with your children
Yeah.
because you don't have to pick all the extra shifts on weekends where you have to leave the children. At least on weekend you have to stay at home. Was it like that in the 80s?
Yeah.
Compared to now that even the 40 hours is not enough
Yeah.
for the family to live.
Exactly. Earnings was more relative to purchasing back then.
So how did expectations of child independence differ in the 80s?
Child independence.
Yeah.
You were expected to do a lot more yourself, like, for example, prepare yourself for school, perhaps, make your own sandwich, that sort of thing. I know a lot of parents now will just do everything for children right up to the end of high school.
So what can we do today as a parent to minimize the use of gadgets in our homes?
We could go back to basics, just like the family unit, cut out reliance on these gadgets, just use them, and eventually, just cut down over time, spend more quality time together.
Quality time together.
Yeah.
I think that's very important. Time is a major factor that brings the family together.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, what is your advice for young parents who are new in this United Kingdom?
Yeah.
What is your advice?
Try and put the phone down. Engage more personally with your children. Things together. Just basic things. Have your dinner together. Share the chores together. Just use every chore as a form of interaction.
And what about the foreigners in the United Kingdom that don't know and they fall victims of maybe they are trying to discipline their children and something happen in between and they lose the child or the children? What is your advice for people coming into the country as a parent, as a citizen of the United Kingdom? What's your advice for parents coming in?
My advice would be just to try and learn laws of the land. Just try and get on it.
Thank you very much, Ben, for coming. This has been a very wonderful conversation and enlightenment to all of us parents. And I believe people watching us now also they have learned one or two things, how to discipline and how to work together as a couple to manage their homes and their children. And if you are watching this, I want you to please do me a favor and subscribe to our channel. Follow us on all our social medias. Thank you very much, Ben, for your time, for coming at this present time to give this wonderful conversation. God bless you. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. See you in the next one. See you. Cheers.